true power is not found in the noise of the storm, but in the mountain that remains unmoved as the wind screams against its peaks. Seneca. Have you ever stopped to observe, truly observe, the silence that exists between words? That fleeting moment, almost imperceptible, when the air around you seems to change density, charged with a static electricity that you cannot explain logically, but that your primitive instinct feels on your skin. Perhaps you have noticed how some women, specifically those who have already crossed the portals of youth and entered the sophisticated and dangerous territory of maturity, never flirt in an obvious, loud, or vulgar way. They are not girls seeking external validation on every corner. They are experienced emotional strategists, chess players on a board where the pieces are made of desire, fear, and hidden expectations. They operate in the shadows of nonverbal communication, where a simple glance carries more weight than 1,000 words spoken out loud. Instead of clear signals like neon lights, they silently test your awareness, your presence, and your tectonic stability. Especially if you are a man who has already crossed the line of 50 years. The mature woman behaves fundamentally differently at this stage of life, operating under a coded script that most men, blinded by haste and superficiality, never manage to decipher. There is a hidden fear that lives in the heart of mature female psychology, a secret they guard under lock and key. They do not want to appear needy. The absolute dread of a sophisticated woman is to appear desperate or excessively available. Society, cruel as it is, has taught them that neediness repels, and they have internalized this lesson with surgical precision. Therefore, instead of being direct, instead of exposing themselves to the brutal risk of explicit rejection, they ask questions. Questions that seem trivial, conversations that seem like mere filler for silence, but are actually high complexity tests. And it is exactly here, in this blind spot, where the abyss lies, where most men fall and can never get out. A woman who feels a genuine attraction, a visceral attraction for an older man, will almost always ask two very specific questions. They function as master keys to unlock intimacy or close the door of opportunity forever. It is like a steganographic message, hidden in plain sight, invisible to the profane, but screaming to the initiate who knows the hidden language of desire. Before I reveal these two questions that have the power to alter the trajectory of your love life, I need you to do something for yourself and for this brotherhood of men navigating in the dark. Tap the like button and leave a comment below if you have ever had the bitter feeling of having missed a feminine signal, realizing the gaffe only days, months, or even years later when it was already too late. Your engagement is not just a vain metric for this channel. It is the vital fuel that helps this forbidden knowledge reach more men who wrongly believe they have become ghosts. Many men over 50 carry the limiting and destructive belief that they are invisible to women. Whether younger women seeking the security of a father archetype, or women of their own age seeking a journey companion. But the truth, my friend, is brutally different. Invisibility is a lie you tell yourself, so you don't have to deal with the game. Mature men are often more attractive than ever, carrying the gravity and experience that youth cannot buy. But this magnetism is only activated when they finally understand the complex engineering of how women think, feel, and test. The real problem was never the lack of interested women. The problem is the noise in communication, the catastrophic failure to read between the lines of the subtext. It is walking through life with the ingenuity of thinking she was just being nice or polite, when in reality, she was opening a golden door, waiting for you to have the courage and perception to cross it. You need to understand with the clarity of a diamond that women rarely show interest openly. That would be too risky for their ego, for their reputation, and for the power dynamics of the interaction. Instead, they test your emotional calm. They cast small baits to see if you bite with desperation or if you observe with curiosity. They test your physical presence, whether you occupy the space with confidence or if you shrink. And above all, they test your almost supernatural ability to notice subtle details. Female psychology operates silently and indirectly, like the deep currents of the ocean that move massive volumes of water without disturbing the surface. When a woman begins to see you no longer as background scenery, but as a potential protagonist, someone she could trust emotionally, physically, and intimately, her energy undergoes a phase change. It is an almost imperceptible change to the inattentive observer, but seismic for those who know what to look for.
Her conversation migrates from the trivial, from the weather, traffic, political news, to an intentional, focused, and penetrating curiosity. She begins to ask questions. And understand this, no question coming from an interested woman is random. Each interrogation is a laser surgically projected to illuminate and reveal three fundamental pillars about your masculine architecture. Your internal strength, that is, if you are a man anchored in reality or insecure and volatile. Your emotional and practical availability, to know if there is room on your stage for her to perform. And your awareness, which means your ability to be awake in the present moment and recognize real interest when it arises in front of you. It is exactly at this critical moment where the fate of the relationship hangs in the balance that the two key questions appear on the game board. To understand why these questions matter so much, why they are the watershed between loneliness and company, you need to dive into the depths of evolutionary psychology behind them. Many mature men, children of an analog era, expect clear signals. They expect the handkerchief to drop. They expect the verbalized invitation. They expect neon lights flashing, "I am available," because they grew up in a time where social roles were scripted with more rigidity. But today's women, and this includes mature women who have adapted to the modern world, express attraction through cautious exploration, not explicit declaration. They don't say, "I am attracted to you," or "I want you to take me to dinner." They say it through behavioral riddles. They feel first, process the emotion in the limbic system, and only then analyze rationally. Women often ask carefully chosen questions to probe the minefield of the relationship, to see if you are a man toward whom they can move without the humiliating risk of rejection or disinterest. Here is the silent female fear, especially acute when dealing with older men who already have an established life. If she shows interest too clearly, she worries that he will think she is needy, that she is hunting for a husband to take care of her, or that she is simply too easy. And nothing kills masculine desire faster than the perception that the conquest required no effort. So, to protect her own value, she hides her attraction inside intellectual curiosity. She camouflages desire within questions that seem harmless, almost bureaucratic, to a man who is not paying attention to the details of the emotional frequency. And here lies the danger. If you miss these questions, if you let them pass as if they were just background noise in a crowded bar, she usually will not repeat the invitation. The window of opportunity closes hermetically. Women rarely offer the same emotional opening twice. Once the probe is rejected, even if by your ignorance, her pride builds a wall. Female psychology is made of layers, textures, veils, and subtleties. Women use questions in the same strategic way that men use physical actions and demonstrations of competence. When a man is attracted to someone, his instinct is to provide. He offers help to fix something. He gives direction. He offers physical protection or financial/tangible support. It is the language of action. But when a woman is attracted, her language is the passive-aggressive invitation, in the good sense. She asks a question that gently suggests proximity, creating a vacuum in the air that you, as a man, must have the initiative to fill. There are thousands of questions a woman can ask in daily life, about work, about politics, about cooking, but only two appear repeatedly like a universal golden pattern when she is carefully exploring the possibility of intimacy with a mature man. I will share these questions shortly and dissect them word for word, but first, understand something crucial that will change your perspective forever. She is not asking because she is trying to invade your privacy or control your steps like a jailer. She asks because she wants to feel the temperature of your emotional heat. She wants to feel the vibrational response of your being. Is he calm or reactive? Is he stable or chaotic? Is he open to my feminine energy, or will he retreat to his cave? Unconsciously, she is asking if you hold yourself confidently in your masculine pole, or if you hide behind politeness, fear, and sterile social conventions. These questions are not a job interview. They are not about collecting data for a cold biography. They are about visceral connection, about feeling the other. They create a small magnetic tension, an invisible electric arc between you and her. Think of them as fragile bridges she gently builds over an unknown abyss, just to see if you have the courage and presence of mind to step forward and meet her halfway. And when you do, when you cross that bridge with intention, something changes inside her biology. Oxytocin levels rise, the defensive barrier drops. The tragedy is that most men respond to these questions at face value, in a logical, literal, and analytical way, killing the magic of the moment. But a wiser man, a high-value man, hears the whisper beneath the words. He understands the subtext. When she asks these questions, she is not collecting facts for a demographic census. She is checking the alignment of souls. She is checking your situational awareness. She is testing if you are the type of man who notices what lies beneath the surface, the type of man who can read the deep ocean just by looking at the foam of the waves. When a woman feels attracted to you, she doesn't need you to show your bank statement, the brute strength of your biceps, or impressive stories of past achievements. She needs, desperately, to feel that you are present. Present in the now, aware and emotionally unshakable like a mountain before a storm. These two questions matter because they are not random curiosity. They are formal invitations, written in invisible ink, to the ball of seduction and intimacy. The first question she asks a man she desires is intended to reveal a single thing, perhaps the most important thing at the start of any romantic interaction: your availability. And I don't mean your Google Calendar or your business appointments. I mean the availability of your heart, of your soul. She wants to feel if your life has emotional space for her, or if it is cluttered with past traumas, ghost ex-wives, bitterness, and rigidity. This is not a practical question about schedules. It is a purely psychological question. It is her way of asking, are you open to the world or closed in on yourself? Can you connect, or are you hiding inside safe and lonely routines? Can I approach without feeling pushed away by your coldness? Women hate, above all, wasting emotional energy. For them, emotion is a precious and finite resource. So, they test the openness of the ground before planting any seed of deeper interest. This first question is the female version of a man leaning slightly forward to see if the woman leans in too, or if she recoils her body. It is a calibration test. But most men miss this completely because they think she is just making small talk to avoid awkward silence. The second question, the one that usually comes after the first barrier has been overcome, is about your direction. Not your job title, not your retirement plan, but your inner direction, your existential purpose. She wants to know if your life has a vector, a movement, a masculine stability that she can respect and follow. Women do not open up, neither emotionally nor sexually, to men who are adrift. The archetype of the lost man may arouse pity, but never desire. They open up to men who are anchors, solid rocks in the middle of the chaos of modern life. Men who know who they are, and where they are going. This question helps her feel instinctively, is this man emotionally alive or dormant? Does he carry stability or volatility? Can I feel safe and protected in his presence? Does he have clear boundaries, or is he a man who says yes to everything and everyone, floating through existence? The second question is not about logistical details. It is about your core. When she asks it, she is already running mental simulations, internal movies about what life would be like by your side. A woman can feel visual physical attraction, of course. Testosterone does that. But she only moves closer to the territory of vulnerability when she desires your presence in a deeper and safer way. This question becomes her portal to feel the man you truly are, stripped of the social masks we use to survive in the corporate world. These questions are especially vital for men over 50, and here is why. In this stage of life, many women assume something about you automatically, a silent prejudice. They believe that you have already lived most of your emotional chapters, that you already have too much baggage, too many habits, too many scars. They assume you are hardened. So they hesitate to enter your world unless they feel absolute certainty that they won't just be another piece of furniture in your house, but that they will truly matter. These two questions, soft, simple, almost invisible in the flow of conversation, are her way of checking if there is vital space for her, and if the man she is attracted to is living with renewed purpose or just killing time, waiting for the end of life. You can ignore verbal compliments. You can fail to notice when she plays with her hair, exposing her neck, a classic sign of vulnerability. You can fail to notice dilated pupils. But if you miss these two questions, you miss the exact moment, the click in which she is unlocking the door of the fortress. And, as an evolutionary defense mechanism, once that door closes, most women do not open it again. They move on, protecting their hearts from cold or obtuse men. When a woman wants intimacy with an older man, not just a platonic friendship, but real proximity, warmth, skin and soul, she tests the connection with these two specific questions that transcend cultures. You can go to Italy, Japan, or Brazil. The essence of these questions remains the same because they come directly from the operating system of female psychology. Prepare yourself, sharpen your ears, for here they are, stripped of any mystery. The first question is, invariably, some variation of, do you spend a lot of time alone? Sounds innocent, doesn't it? Sounds like something someone would ask in a bank line or waiting for an elevator. But make no mistake, in the context of subtle flirting, this is dynamite. It is her way of asking, is there space here? Is there a habitable vacuum for me in his world? Is he a lone wolf by misanthropic choice or social ineptitude? Is he open to a partner, or is he emotionally locked in his confirmed bachelor habits? Women ask this in many varied forms, camouflaging the intent. Do you usually go out alone? You seem like someone who really likes your own company. Is that true? Are you seeing someone lately, or just focused on your things? Note the critical nuance. This question is never about loneliness itself. She is not worried if you feel lonely. It is about access. It is about permeability. A woman asks this only after having already imagined herself, even if for a brief second, occupying some place in your life. She wants to know if you are emotionally welcoming or an impenetrable fortress. If she felt absolutely nothing for you, she wouldn't give a damn how you spend your Saturday nights or your Sunday mornings. But when she feels attracted by the calm, the financial and emotional stability that many mature men carry, she needs to know if she can enter your world without having to force her way in, without having to fight for space. The Greek tragedy of modern dating is that most men respond to this too literally, with a brutal and charmless honesty. They say, "Yes, I am alone a lot. It's hard to find nice people," which sounds depressing and needy. Or they say, "Not much. I always go out with my soccer friends," which can sound as if he has no time for her, as if his life is already too full. But an anchored man, a man who understands the dance, hears what she is really asking. She is checking your openness. She wants to know if proximity to you is a real possibility. To respond in a way that builds overwhelming attraction, you must remain calm. Your voice should drop an octave. You must be balanced, stable, and open, but never, ever needy. You could say something like, "I really appreciate my own space and my time. I learned to like my company. But I am always open to a quality connection that brings a new and good energy." Or perhaps, with a smirk, "I like my routines. They keep me focused. But I am totally open to someone who adds something meaningful and light to my life." Analyze that response. It does two masterful things simultaneously. First, it shows emotional openness without the repulsive smell of desperation. You like your life as it is. Second, it gently suggests that she could be that person you would allow in, reversing the power dynamic. Now, she is no longer interviewing you. She is trying to qualify to be that person who adds something meaningful. You turned her test into a challenge for her. This tone is exactly what women respond to biologically. Open, but not empty. Receptive, but not needy. Strong, without being cold and distant. When you respond this way, she feels warmth, possibility, and above all, emotional security. Her nervous system relaxes, and this sensation of natural security encourages her to take the next step, leading her to the second question, the one that reveals deeper interest and seals the fate of the interaction. The second question is, what are you looking for these days? Stop and think. This question is never casual. It is never small talk to fill time. It is a woman exploring you as a serious and tangible romantic possibility. If she felt nothing, she would never risk asking something so personal, because the answer could create an awkward moment or an unwanted confession on your part. Asking this makes her feel exposed, vulnerable. Women save this question for men they see as viable candidates. She may phrase it in different ways to soften the impact. What do you expect from your life now at this stage? What kind of connection do you value these days? Are you open to something serious or just enjoying freedom? No matter the syntax, grammar, or exact words, the underlying meaning, the silent cry, is identical. She is asking, do you have space for me emotionally? Are you a man with a plan, or are you adrift? Are you intentional in your choices, or do you let life happen?
Are you a man of fleeting adventures or of real construction? It is here that many men fail catastrophically. They panic or get defensive. They respond by saying, "Oh, I don't know. I'm not thinking about that now. Let life take me." Which to a mature woman sounds like immaturity and lack of leadership. Or, even worse, they go too far to the other side and sound desperate. "I want a wife. I hate being alone. My house is too empty. I'm ready for anything." Both responses kill attraction instantly. The first shows weakness of purpose. The second shows emotional weakness. An anchored and seductive response sounds different. It has weight, gravity, texture. You should look into her eyes, maintain eye contact for a second longer than comfortable, and say, "I'm in a moment where I'm enjoying my life, building my personal projects, but I'm definitely open to something meaningful if the connection is genuine and the energy hits." Or, "I really value real human connection, but only when it adds peace, laughter, and depth to what I've already built." This shows purpose without pressure. It shows that you are selective. It shows confidence without building walls of bitterness. It shows that you are not hunting with a net, but you are also not running away. Women feel incredibly secure in this energy of the selective man. When you respond this way, she feels seen. She feels she is before a real man, a rare species these days. She feels that you know yourself, and self-knowledge is deeply aphrodisiac, especially for a woman considering investing her time and emotion in an older man. These two questions are her quiet way of taking a step in your direction. She won't chase you like an infatuated teenager. She won't beg for attention. She has dignity. She won't repeat herself. She will ask once and observe your energy like a hawk observes movement in the grass. If you respond with presence, she moves closer. If you respond with coldness, confusion, nervous jokes, or self-deprecation, she silently moves away, and the opportunity dies right there at the coffee table. So, pay obsessive attention. Next time a woman asks if you spend a lot of time alone, do not dismiss the question as triviality. Hear the alarm ringing in your head. Hear what she is really saying between the lines. And when she asks what you are looking for, understand that she is offering you a doorway into her life. Women over 40 and 50 are not playing childish games of cat and mouse. They move with silent and efficient intention. They test emotional security first, before surrendering body or heart. They value presence much more than beautiful words or empty promises. And if you are a man over 50,
Understand this once and for all. Engrave this in your subconscious. You are not invisible. On the contrary, you are powerful when you are calm. You are magnetically attractive when you are anchored. You don't need to chase, sweating and panting. You only need to recognize when she is opening the door and take a step forward with that quiet confidence that only the experience of having lived half a century can bring. Ask yourself now, what do you really want in your life? In which direction does your compass point? What are you really focusing on these days? What do you hope to discover or build before the end of the journey?
Women ask this second question to understand your vector. For a woman to open up emotionally or physically to a man, she needs to feel that his life has direction. Especially with a mature man, she needs to feel that he is not a boat without a rudder, spinning in circles in the middle of the ocean. She needs to know he is the captain. He knows what he wants. He is not wandering through life without direction, stuck in old emotional habits or lamenting the past. He is not just passing time. He moves with deliberate intention. This kind of question helps her understand one thing clearly. Is this man's life moving in a direction where I could walk beside him with confidence, security, and emotional leadership? Does he have emotional purpose, physical purpose, and relationship purpose? Men who respond literally often don't realize they are silently sabotaging the moment. When a man says, "I'm just looking for peace," which many men say, she hears, "I want to be left alone." When he says, "Taking it one day at a time," she hears, "I have no plans or ambition." When he says, "I'm not sure right now," she hears, "I am insecure." And women do not invest emotionally in men who are adrift. If you want to respond with masculine clarity, you don't need a long and elaborate story. You don't need to explain your whole past. You just need present direction. You can say, "I'm building a calmer yet stronger chapter of my life, and I want to share it with the right people who have the same vibration." Or, "I'm looking for a connection that feels natural, not forced, something that flows like water." These responses do three vital and powerful things. They show that you are moving forward and not stagnant in the mud of the past. They show emotional clarity, proving that you know what you want and what you don't want. And, silently, they open a mental space where she can imagine herself fitting into your direction, like the missing piece of the puzzle. This is very powerful for a woman. It is the green light she anxiously waits for. It is proof that you are emotionally awake, not just existing. Because here is something most men over 50 never fully understand. Women want a man who is alive inside.
Not just biologically alive, but vibrant. Let's connect this to something we all understand: Christmas and festive dates. Think about how women experience these dates. For them, it is not about the monetary value of the gift. It is about the intention, the presence, and the feeling of being seen. When you give a gift that shows you heard a small remark she made months ago, it's worth more than a diamond given without thought. The same logic applies here. In these questions, she wants to feel your inner world. She wants to know if, by taking a step toward you, she will find firm ground where she can build, or if she will find quicksand that will pull her down. Imagine this in a practical scenario, a cinema of the mind, to consolidate this knowledge. You are talking to a woman. The environment is pleasant, perhaps soft jazz in the background, the smell of coffee or wine. The conversation flows easy. There is a comfort, a soft and delicious tension in the air. She laughs at your jokes, tilts her head, exposes her vulnerable neck. She looks at you with warmth and curiosity, her pupils slightly dilated, trying to catch more light, more of you. Then, suddenly, the tone changes slightly, becomes more intimate, and she asks, "So, do you spend a lot of time alone?" Stop. Time freezes. This is her first emotional step toward you. It's the gatekeeper's test. If you respond with presence and calm confidence, smiling in your eyes, she feels encouraged to enter. If you stutter, look down, or respond with bitterness, the door slams in her face. Minutes later, if you pass the first test, she asks, "And what are you looking for these days in your life?" This is the checkmate. It's the moment of truth. It's where she decides whether to go deeper, whether to risk her heart, or whether to pull away and go back to the safety of her solitude. If you respond with clarity, she feels the possibility of thrilling romance. If you respond with uncertainty, she withdraws like a flower in winter. These questions are not random. They are emotional checkpoints, tolls on the road of the relationship. A woman who wants intimacy is not going to say it directly. She is going to ask, "Are you emotionally open?" through the question about loneliness. And, "Are you emotionally alive and intentional?" through the question about what you seek. Remember, when they open a door, it usually happens only once. A woman does not test your words. Words can be forged. She tests your presence, your vibration, and your consciousness, things that cannot be faked. Therefore, the next time you hear these questions, do not respond on autopilot. Turn off the robot. Take a dramatic pause. Feel the weight of the moment. Breathe. Look into her eyes with intensity and calm. Understand what she is really asking. She is asking, can I trust my heart to you? Are you going to take care of it, or are you going to let it fall? When you respond with calm clarity, you stand out from 99% of modern men who are asleep at the wheel, addicted to distractions, and incapable of real connection. You become attractive not just for what you say, but for the solid rock energy that emanates from behind your words. You show that you know who you are, and there is nothing, absolutely nothing in the world more irresistible to a woman than a man who is comfortable in his own skin and who knows where he is going. Now, if you've made it this far, if you've dived into these depths with me and understood the power of this secret code, I have one last challenge for you. Do not let this knowledge die in your mind as just another piece of theoretical information. Make it real. Help this knowledge reach the men who desperately need it, men who are about to give up. Comment the phrase, "I see the signals," below. Show the algorithm and show yourself that you understood the message, that you woke up to the reality of the game, and that you are ready to use this power with wisdom and integrity. Your interaction is vital. Do not be just a passive spectator of your own love life. Take control of the helm. Become the captain of your soul.